Hi folks in YouTube, it's Stephenworldwide, and I'm going to make a two-part video now about my first day in Korea. And this first part will be about my trip here and my first night in Korea. And the second video I'll talk about my first day teaching. So I'm living in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and my recruiter sets up my flight to come to Korea, and it has two stops on the way. I'm leaving from West Palm Beach, then I'm going to the Houston airport, then I'm going to San Francisco airport, and then I'm going to arrive in Incheon airport, which is right outside of Seoul, the main international airport here in Korea. It was very early on Thursday morning. My flight was leaving West Palm Beach at 6:20 a.m. So my flight left on time on Thursday morning at 6:20. I can't remember if it was Continental, I think it was. And I got to the Houston airport. I didn't have any time to do anything in Houston. The layover was not that long. It was like 45 minutes. A side story, if there are any baseball fans, I went into the bathroom at the Houston airport and I saw somebody who I'm pretty sure was Derek Bell come out of one of the stalls. Derek Bell was a great baseball player like in the late 90s. I think he was an all-star in 96 or 97. He took quite the fall and he retired, and he looked pretty old, but I'm pretty sure I walked by Derek Bell in the Houston airport bathroom. Then I went from Houston to San Francisco, and in San Fran I had a little bit more time. I had about an hour and a half in the airport, and I called some of my friends in San Francisco. My friends were working, so they couldn't come visit me or take me out for lunch or anything like that. What I did do was I did get some money exchanged into Korean won while I was there. That was probably a good idea looking back on it, because when I arrived in Korea it was in the evening and I didn't see any places that I could switch my money into Korean currency. If you were coming to Korea, I would probably get the money changed locally rather than doing it at the airport. Maybe you can get a better rate if you exchange your American money into Korean won in your city or somewhere close by. So I did that in San Francisco, and the airline was Singapore Airlines, or Singapore Air, and they were fantastic. They were so kind. It was just a really good experience. The airplane, I can't remember the type of airplane it was. It was huge. I mean, it was 3 people across in the middle and then 2 on either side. The service was fantastic on the airplane. They served 2 meals, and they even had beer, they had booze, they had wine, they had everything. They didn't charge you extra for it. They gave you a menu, whatever you picked, you got, and the food was good. They didn't show a movie. Everybody had their own TV sets. So you can play, it was a touch screen, so you can play video games, you can watch movies, and you can watch TV shows. They had a lot of stuff. I mean, you could not be bored on this plane. Plus, I was sleeping a lot. I like to sleep on my flights to make the time go by quicker. So I stay up before I leave, packing frantically, and then when I get on the plane, I just crash. I don't know what the total hours were because there's a time change, and Korea is like 12 hours ahead of US East time. So I left Florida at 6:20 in the morning on Thursday morning, and I arrived in Korea around 7 or 8 p.m. on Thursday night. So with the time change, I don't know how long that was. So the flight was probably, all told, probably 20 hours, I would say. So I arrived at the airport in Incheon and there were no problems. There was somebody holding a sign with my name on it, so that was pretty cool. I really didn't get a ride from this person. All he did was meet me and take me to the ticket counter to get me a bus to Gwangju, Korea. So this wasn't a ride to Seoul, what it probably is for most people who arrive. This was actually helping me get a bus ticket for a 3.5-hour bus ride to Gwangju. So my 20 hours in an airplane and in airports, this is not the end of my journey. I still had pretty far to go. So I hop on this bus, and it's 3.5 hours to Gwangju. And I arrive at Gwangju at 11 p.m. Now here is the hairy part of my trip. I get to the bus terminal and there's nobody there to meet me.